When was the last time you paid taxes? When I ask that question, people often think immediately about income taxes. So when was the last time I filed a tax return, or when was my last paycheck? But in reality, most of us pay taxes every day in the form of sales taxes. Sales taxes are a tax on the consumer, and it usually comes from the state or the local government. So for example, let's say we are over here in a store buying something that costs $100. So we go to the store and say, all right, I'm going to spend $100. The store, in addition to that, has to charge, let's say 5%. So they have to charge sales taxes. For simplicity, let's call it 5%. So that would add an additional $5 in sales taxes. So you actually pay the store $105. Now the store doesn't get to keep it. All the store is doing is acting as a tax collector. They have to forward this on to the state. So here's a very bad drawing of Minnesota, but Minnesota is the one that gets that $5 in taxes. So this is a tax from Minnesota, or whatever state you are, on the consumer. Even though it kind of looks like they are taxing the business, they are not. They're actually taxing the consumer and are forcing businesses to collect the tax for them. It's just easier for the state that way to have businesses collect it than the state go to each individual person and say, hey, can you pay your sales taxes to me? So for ease of collection, we pay it to the businesses, and the businesses forward that on to the state. All right, so what does this look like from the business's perspective in terms of journal entries? Well, we are going to get cash. How much cash do we actually get? We get $105 in this transaction. How much did we actually earn as a business, though? How much work did we do? We only did $100 worth of work, so that's what goes in our sales revenue. The other $5 is a liability, so that usually goes in sales tax payable. Liability means that we owe somebody. In this case, we owe the state the other $5. Some things to point out here. Notice that there are no expenses or revenues for the business with regards to the sales tax payable. We're just acting as a tax collector. We take in the tax and then we give the tax away. We don't get to keep it. When we pay this $5 to the state, the journal entry will be debit sales tax payable. I'll put it down here so you can see it. Debit that $5 and then credit cash $5. So you see, we don't get to keep that $5 in cash. So we can see that that $5 is never a revenue. It's not an expense. It's just we're collecting it from the customer and then forwarding it onto the state. Sales taxes is one of my favorite topics. I'm not going to go at length in this video about sales taxes. But just a couple of things to note. Businesses have no incentive really to collect sales taxes. It does nothing for their business. It doesn't help them sell more stuff. It's just paperwork for them. Paperwork that they frankly don't like doing. So states have to force businesses to do this for them. There's a long history about the struggle between businesses and states to on collecting sales taxes and doing this, and it's a very interesting history. Also, some things to point out is the sales tax rates in different states and even counties and cities are different. If you go from one zip code to another zip code and buy something, the sales tax rate can be completely different. So that makes the landscape a little challenging from a business perspective. If you're selling something to California and then also ship something to someone in North Carolina, you have to figure out how much am I supposed to be collecting in sales taxes from these people. And then who am I supposed to forward it to, and so on. If you're interested in learning more about this sales tax landscape, I have a document posted in Canvas that goes into all of the nitty-gritty details of sales taxes, the history behind it, how do we calculate sales taxes, why is it complicated, who do I have to pay sales taxes to, which states am I subject to, which states do I have to collect sales taxes for. And also, what if I'm a consumer and I don't pay sales taxes on something? Does that mean I'm just off the hook? Short answer is no, but for all of those details, you can go look at the document in Canvas that goes into all of that. Specifically for this class, for the accounting, all we really need to know is how do we do the journal entries? So those are the journal entries that we need to know to deal with sales taxes in this class.